Tell yourself, I'm doing a great work. What I'm doing matters. The discipline that I'm acting on, it matters. What I'm telling myself, it matters. And then you start to feel yourself being separated from amongst the crowd, separated from amongst the competition, because you start to build something on the inside of you, and that thing is called confidence.
No matter what you go through, keep dreaming. Keep going, don't quit, keep reaching. You can be the best you wanna be, gotta believe it. Keep the faith, the mustard seed is all needed. You gotta want it as bad as you breathe. My journey and your journey different, but unique.
Top of the morning. Welcome back to the Keep Dreaming podcast. Hey, we're going to pause right here real quick. If you haven't had a chance, please click the subscribe button, subscribe to the channel so you can be aware every time that a video drops, every time that a podcast episode drops, so you can be in the know of what's going on. But today we are tackling episode 13. So think about this. Let's say there is a starting point and there is a finishing point, and there's something in the middle. You don't know exactly what it is, but you know that you have a starting point and you're trying to get somewhere. So let's just say, we've been talking about our dreams. We've been talking about our desires. So let's say the starting point for our dreams is just going to be the dream, the desire, the imaginations that we have. And then the end point is going to be reality when we're able to bring those different things into existence. So what happens in the middle? What are some things that we can talk about, some things that can help us in the middle to help us get from point A to point B? That's what episode 13 is going to be talking about on today. So for the coffee segment on today, I want to do a latte. This is not a latte, my bad. This is a cappuccino. So this is a lot more coffee, but a little bit of milk. So I wanted something a little bit of strong, but a little bit of relaxing at the same time. So I got a cappuccino on today. And when I'm thinking about today's coffee segment, as you all have noticed, I have routinely done this in every single episode. I have created more so what you would consider as a repetition, being able to do the same thing kind of over and over. And that's going to play into our episode on today. And so wherever you are, whatever it is that you got in your hand, I need you to go pick something up, get something in your hand, water, coffee, latte, Starbucks, whatever, and let's do a cheers. Now let's jump into our episode. So I have a dream, and I got to find a way to bring that dream into reality. Obviously, there are many different steps that I can do, but there's one key ingredient that we're going to talk about on today that's not fun, it's not sexy, and quite honestly, it's pretty boring, and that's going to be the word discipline. We lack discipline. I'm going to just say that straight up. We as human beings, we as adults, we as a generation, we lack wisdom. We often say that we want this to happen or we want to accomplish this. Yet we don't have the discipline to stick with it when the results aren't there, to stick with it when it's not happening in our timeline, to stick with it when we can't see anything happening. And we've been doing the same thing over and over and over. But it's the discipline that's going to bring that dream into reality. Remember, I said there's a starting point. The starting point are going to be your dreams. The end point is going to be reality when you are able to live your dreams. So that middle gap, that void, is going to be discipline. I got to be able to stick with discipline to pull that dream into reality, to pull myself into the person that I'm supposed to become in order to hold the dream, to obtain the dream, and it's discipline. So real quick, just ask yourself, do you have discipline? And oftentimes, even for myself, the answer is no or not really. But we need to switch that no and not really to a yes, because the yes to discipline, the yes to routine, the yes to certain behavior, that's the key ingredient to pull your dreams into reality. So jumping into our movie segment for the day, there was a movie that came out in 1984, and it's called The Karate Kid. This is a little bit before my time, but I was privileged enough to see it. And in this movie, it teaches us a lot about discipline. There was a boy by the name of Daniel. Daniel was experiencing bullying, and so he moved to Los Angeles. When he moved to Los Angeles, luckily, he came across a teacher for martial arts named Mr. Miyagi. And Mr. Miyagi starts to train him in martial arts. And so he has this tactic that he teaches Daniel, and it's called wax on, wax off. Basically, he has Daniel waxing on, waxing off on this car, and Daniel has to perform this over and over and over. And just like discipline, it becomes boring. You start to think about, all right, what's next? What can I do next? What's more exciting? But it's the tactic of the teaching in discipline that teaches us everything that we need to know. But anyways, in this movie, Mr. Miyagi teaches Daniel a very important lesson. It's not so much about learning as many things as you can, rather it's being disciplined to do the one thing and becoming great at it, learning the tactics with it and being able to do the same thing over and over. Wax on, wax off. So I did a little bit of research, and what this taught me was that when you wax on and wax off, it does several different things, being able to do the same thing over and over. Number one, it teaches muscle memory. If I learn muscle memory, if I teach my body muscle memory, now it becomes a little bit easy. Now I know what to do when certain things happen, when adversity hits, or when certain tactics start to happen. I have that muscle memory. The other thing it teaches you is to have dominion over your flesh. Now I control my body. Now I control the mind, and I tell it what to do. And so the simple tactic that we're just going to stick with as we go throughout this episode is going to be wax on, wax off. It's not sexy. It's not exciting oftentimes. Discipline can be very boring. It can be very mundane. But discipline is the thing that allows you to go from good to great. If I can do the same thing over and over when my competition may tap out, when the other people that I'm working against, they may not be able to hang on as long as I can because I have taught myself through discipline. I have created muscle memory. I've created discipline for myself. Now I can outlast my competition. Now I can outlast adversity. Now I can outlast temporary circumstances in order to keep going, in order to keep pushing through life. So as I reflect just even for my own self and over my own life, playing collegiate football, playing D1 ball, we had to have a lot of discipline. A lot of that discipline came from 5 a.m. workouts. In the spring, we would have these things called rodeos where we would get up 4:15, and we would have to be at the stadium Monday through Thursday at 5 a.m., and the workouts would start. And we would train our bodies, we would train our mind, and these were intense workouts. These were not sexy workouts. There was nobody in the stands cheering for us. There was nobody out there clapping, telling you good job. We were doing the same thing over and over and over, but the reality is that it was preparing us. It was preparing us for the season. It was preparing us for the game. So when game time came and now the stadium is full, we're not worried about the crowd. We're not worried about the cheering because we have built discipline in the offseason. We have built discipline behind closed doors. So now when it's time to perform, we know what to do. We have the muscle memory. We have the obedience. We have the discipline to go out there and to win. And thankfully for me and my teammates, from 2011 to 2015, we won 4 conference championships. So you say you want to be a winner. You say you want to accomplish your dreams. You say you want to do the impossible. All of that stems back to being able to have discipline, being able to govern yourself, being able to control the flesh, being able to control your mind. And all of that happens through discipline. So what's the connecting piece between the Karate Kid with Mr. Miyagi and Daniel? My personal reflection just over my football career: in order to become a champion, in order to accomplish your wildest dreams, in order to have some type of success in life, you got to have discipline. I'm not going to baby you. I don't baby myself. I don't baby anybody that I teach or coach. Discipline is hard. I'm not going to sit here and act like it's easy. It's one of the hardest things that we as humans have to face, but it's also the most rewarding thing that you could ever do in your life. Being able to be disciplined, telling yourself, I can do this. No, it may not bring you the exact results that you want in that moment, but over time, just chipping away, slowly but surely, you will start to accomplish the things that you desire. So now I know that everybody is different, and there will be people where discipline comes a little bit easier to you, and then there will be people where discipline becomes a little bit harder. So let's say you are a person where discipline is extremely hard. I'm gonna give you a tactic that you can use. Let's use goals versus standards. So oftentimes the dreams that we have, those are goals. We can't determine when they will happen, but we have a desire to accomplish those. On the other end, on the other spectrum, are standards. These are things that we can control. These are things that we can do every single day. If I do enough of my standards, it should help put me in position to accomplish my goals. Let me say that again. If I do my standards, it should help put me in position to accomplish my goals. So when I think about discipline, being able to switch the perspective to say discipline is simply standards that I have for my life. We did an episode talking about how you need to have standards. So being able to flip it and say, okay, I am going to do this thing every single day. it is my standard. It is my standard to make my bed every single day. It is my standard to eat healthy Monday through Friday. It is my standard to save this much money for the month. If I do my standards, that puts me in position to accomplish my goals. And all a standard is being able to have discipline. That's all it is. So let's say you are struggling with discipline, switching your perspective, switching your mindset to understand that this is simply a standard that I have for my life. And being able to have a standard, those are going to be things to govern yourself in order to accomplish the dream, in order to accomplish the goal. Most people chase goals, but I want you to chase standards. You can't determine when a goal is going to happen. And so rather chasing a goal, chase a standard that's going to put you in position to accomplish the goal. Now, for our Bible application, we're going to go to the book of Nehemiah. In the book of Nehemiah, there's a brother by the name of Nehemiah, and he is going to Jerusalem to help build back the wall. And what's interesting about this is that Nehemiah practices discipline. But anytime you practice discipline, you can best believe distractions are going to come. So just think about it. Discipline also equals distractions. And so one of the things that Nehemiah did, he did not allow the distractions to stop the discipline from the ultimate goal that he was trying to do. Going back to just the tactic that I talked about, he did not allow distractions to disrupt his standards that was going to help him to accomplish the goal. And so throughout this book, there were many people that were scheming against him, trying to get him to come down off the wall that he was building back for Jerusalem. And so in Nehemiah chapter 6, verse 3, I'm going to read it here in a minute, we will see what Nehemiah does when distractions start to come and how he enacts upon discipline in order to keep the standard intact to ultimately accomplish the goal. So let's go to Nehemiah chapter 6, verse 3, and I'm reading out of the Message Bible, and it says, I knew they were scheming to hurt me, so I sent messengers back with this, I'm doing a great work, I can't come down. Why should the work come to a standstill just so I can come down to see you? So in this moment, distractions have come. People are wanting Nehemiah to stop what he's doing, and Nehemiah says, I'm doing a great work. I can't come down. This distraction that you have, my discipline is over trumping this distraction. I'm doing something powerful. I'm doing something amazing, and I refuse to come down. Don't come down. Don't come down off the dream. Don't come down off the standards. Stay up there, even though it may be difficult, even though it may be hard. Discipline is not sexy, but you're doing a great work. The dream that God has given you, the desire that God has given you, it is a great work. So you can't come down. Distractions are going to come. Anytime you're enacting upon discipline, even when you're trying to do the right thing, distraction, controversy, adversity, all of that is going to come. Don't come down. You're doing a great work. So anytime you find yourself just in that mundane place, in that hard place, just remind yourself, I'm doing a great work. Tell yourself, I'm doing a great work. What I'm doing matters. The discipline that I'm acting on, it matters. What I'm telling myself, it matters. And then you start to feel yourself being separated from amongst the crowd, separated from amongst the competition, because you start to build something on the inside of you, and that thing is called confidence. If I'm able to be disciplined and stick with something, now I start to show myself what I'm actually able to accomplish. Now I start to build just more confidence within myself, and I start to understand that this is working for me, not against me, and nothing can stop me, and I refuse to come down because I'm doing a great work. Now, there are going to be 3 principles that I want us to take away from this episode. The first, guard the assignment, not your feelings. I'll say that one more time. Guard the assignment, not your feelings. Our feelings are emotions, and emotions, they are high and they have their lows. And so I can't make decisions off of my emotions, off of my feelings. They are too unstable, but I have to guard the assignment. Whatever God has given me to rule over, to power over, I have to stick with that, and I have to guard that with all my might. I can't come down. I can't come down to entertain foolishness. I can't come down to entertain distractions. And I'm not even talking about distractions from other people, but rather from ourselves. Sometimes we can be our biggest critics. Sometimes we can be our biggest enemies. And we will tell ourselves, well, this work really doesn't matter. It hasn't happened in this timeline. Maybe it's not meant to be. Maybe we've heard God wrong. I got to shut that part of my mind off. I got to shut those emotions off, and I got to guard the assignment that God has given me. So the first principle, guard the assignment, not your feelings. The second principle is going to be inspect what you expect. If I'm expecting to do a great work, if I'm expecting to do something massive in my lifetime, to do something massive in what God has given me, I got to be able to inspect what it is that I'm doing. I got to be able to govern myself. Am I doing what I'm supposed to do? Am I putting in the work that I say that I'm going to put in? Am I holding myself accountable? I got to be able to inspect. Am I being accountable of the time that I have? Am I doing the things, having the skill sets that apply to the dream, that apply to the goal? Whenever you're trying to expect something great, we're expecting greatness, we got to be able to inspect ourselves, be able to hold ourselves accountable. Oftentimes, when we lack being able to accomplish the dream, we're not holding ourselves accountable on the discipline that we need. So you got to be able to inspect on the inside, on your internal circle, if you are expecting something great. That's going to be the second principle. Then the third and last principle, simply wax on, wax off. I got to be used to doing the same thing over and over and over. I got to get comfortable in the boring. Oftentimes we find this thing, especially as it relates to social media, where we get caught up in the excitement. We get caught up in the show. The growth happens behind the scenes. The growth happens in the dark. Being able to simply wax on, wax off every single day. I'm just waxing on, I'm just waxing off. I'm just doing the same thing over and over. I know that the work that I'm putting in, it may not happen when I want it to happen, but eventually it's going to happen. So I got to get used to the boring. I got to get comfortable in the boring. And so that's going to be the third principle. Can you get comfortable in the boring? Can you get comfortable behind the scenes? Can you get comfortable when nobody sees the work that you're putting in, when nobody is applauding you, when nobody is showing up for you, and you are relying on yourself, you're relying on your own instincts, your own discipline, your discipline? Can you get comfortable in the boring? And all that relates to is, can you do the wax on, wax off? And how long can you do it? How long can you stay in that boring place? How long can you sit there in the dark before the lights come on? Because oftentimes that's where the growth happens, and more importantly, that's where success happens. The harsh reality in all of this is that your discipline determines your ceiling. If I have a low discipline, the ceiling for myself is going to be low. If I have a high discipline level, then the ceiling for my dreams and everything that I'm trying to accomplish will be high. And so oftentimes we're asking ourselves, why hasn't something happened yet? Or why have I lost what I thought that I obtained? It's because you lack discipline. And so even though discipline is not the easiest thing, it's the doable thing. It is possible. So you got to get beyond yourself. There are a few tactics that I use in my own life to help with discipline, but I would say the most powerful is going to be fasting. When I fast, and fasting can be several different things. When I fast from certain foods, I fast from social media, I fast from sleep, I am teaching my body that you obey me. God has given us dominion over this earth, which means that we have dominion over our bodies. I can't let my body rule me. I can't let my body tell me what to do. No, I will tell my body what to do, and a lot of that comes from fasting. So once you build up the strength to have dominion over your body, to have dominion, more importantly, over your flesh, now you start to dictate and you start to control. You got to get back your control. Take back your control. Take back what it is that God has given you in the first place, and you got to be able to probably fast in order to help with that. Because once I control that, now I tell my body what to do. Now I tell my flesh what to do. No, we're going to do this today because this is where we're trying to get to. So forget the distractions from other people. I can't allow myself to be distracted by my own thoughts, by my own actions, by my own insecurities, by my own failures. None of that. I got to be able to have dominion over that. So as we start to kind of wrap up this episode, the biggest thing that I want you to take away is imagine that you're in a building and there's a ceiling. I need the ceiling to be as high as possible, because the higher the ceiling is, the more that I can obtain, the more that I can accomplish. But if my ceiling is low, it makes it too hard for me to accomplish anything. So the discipline that I create, I need it in my house to have the tallest ceilings ever. And so that means that I got to be able to control my mind. I got to be able to control my thoughts, and I can't come down. What I'm doing and what you're doing is a great work that God has placed on the inside of us, and we owe it to God to be able to accomplish it in this lifetime. And the key ingredient that's going to help that is going to be discipline. Imagine again that I said you have a starting point and you have an end point. You have the dreams and then you have reality. I got to be able to have discipline in the middle to pull that dream into reality. It's not going to be easy. It's not going to be a simple tactic. It may take years for it to happen, but it's possible. And the way that you do that is by having discipline. Discipline determines your ceiling. I know I didn't really give a title at the beginning, and so the title is that the discipline in your life creates the ceiling for your dreams. And so if you want to be able to accomplish your wildest dreams, your wildest goals, you got to be able to have that discipline. So if you feel like this episode really inspired you, really helped you, again, I want you to click that button and go subscribe. And I also want you to share this episode with somebody because somebody else needs to hear this. We all struggle in different areas of our lives. And a lot of times what we're struggling with is actually discipline. And so I dropped different tactics that we can use, different principles that we can use. So there are going to be a lot of people, including yourself as well as myself, that will benefit from this episode. So make sure that you go share. And I want to see you all back for next week as we get ready to tackle episode 14. I pray that this week is amazing for you. I pray that you continue to chase after God and what he has for you. So more importantly, be blessed and keep dreaming.
No matter what you go through, keep dreaming. Keep going, don't quit, keep reaching. You can be the best you wanna be, gotta believe it. Keep the faith, the mustard seed is all needed. You gotta want it as bad as you breathe. My journey in your